another episode of the Climate Network. Today's guest is a scholar in his own right, someone well known in the policy circle for having made tremendous contributions as Deputy Commissioner during the 14th Finance Commission. He currently holds the position of Secretary of Orissa Economics Association and Executive Committee member of the Indian Econometric Society and is presently the reader in economics at NISER. Welcome, Amarendra, sir. Would you
Thank you.
please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay, since you have already given my introduction, yes, currently I work at Niger and I teach a course on environmental economics and environmental impact assessment. And currently also I'm doing a research project on energy transition and tribal education. So this is actually funded by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and our focus is to basically look at the energy transition in Eastern India. And why Eastern India? Because we have a lot of mining companies and a lot of metal based industries, and these industries are causing a lot of pollution, and these are also highly energy intensive industries. So how we can achieve an energy transition in this region, that is a big challenge actually for us. So we are currently working on that. But prior to this, I have worked on, say for example, my MPhil work was on forestry management, joint forest management, basically how local communities participate in the forest conservation and why some people participate, why some people do not participate. So I was trying to understand that. Then for my PhD, I worked on the mining issues. Mining issues means I chose basically there are public sector mining farms and private sector mining farms, and who is more productive, whether the private sector firms or the public sector firms. Then who is complying with the environmental regulations better, the public firms or the private, and who is having more social responsibility, basically who deals with the communities better in terms of, say, giving compensation and trying to compensate the damages that has happened to the local communities through because of mining. So that was my PhD work. But after that also I have continued my work on mining industry, mining related issues. Like I have been involved in doing environmental impact assessment of a company which I cannot tell. And similarly, I have been involved with the studies on the district mineral foundations, like how the funds of DMF is getting utilized, and whether there is a scope for the government to improve the utilization of these funds, so that communities can really take benefit of these things. Yeah, so that is basically the work actually that I do. And definitely, I would say that my natural interest alone lies in environmental economics.
You mentioned mining. Now, Odisha is a mining rich state. We are rich in resources. And there is a major issue of development versus climate dialogue that goes on in the narratives. Now, how do we balance this development with responsible resource management?
Okay. See, in Odisha, there is a big controversy. In fact, people sometimes say that there is a resource scarce hypothesis. That means the resource rich regions are poor. Uh, and so, in last couple of years, or say multiple decades, you can say from early 2000 till present, now mining industry is basically driving the growth of Odisha. But there are also equal concerns that mining industry is causing a lot of damages to the local community, particularly the environment, like water, air, and the temperature is rising. The local people are suffering. Their agricultural land gets destroyed because of these mining activities. And similarly, usually these people depended on forest, and because of the mining operation, forest gets destroyed. So their life also gets impacted because of the destruction of the ecosystem. So what actually we can do is, okay, we probably definitely need actually mining. You can't say that no, without mining actually you can do, but we have to do responsible mining. So for that, definitely, there are a lot of regulations in India. and we are trying to enforce those regulations. But I think there has to be more say more responsible mining, I would say. And my idea would be bit actually say complete different actually. In fact, there has my idea is be like there has to be a paradigm shift actually in the ways actually that the way we're doing. See, we have now district mineral foundation, and through that, mining companies are sharing a part of their profit with the administration. And now the administration will try to provide public goods like say drinking water, public infrastructure, health, education facilities, through which somehow we try to compensate the damages that has happened to the local community. But still, uh, there are issues actually. We know that. So my suggestion actually would be as follows: that since we are extracting the minerals from one locality, usually those local people are not involved in any decision making. Now they become like say recipients of some of the benefits you want to transfer. Like it's like a mercy you are doing. No, you are doing a charity. No, it sounds like that actually.
Right.
But truly, they are the owners of the resources. No, although constitutionally we have nationalized these resources, so the resources belong to the nation. But truly, these people have been enjoying these resources for a long time. They have been staying there. They have been the guardians of these resources. They have never actually exploited those resources. Even forest also, they have been the protectors of the forest. Now, when some outsider comes to extract the minerals and takes away the profit to somewhere else, actually, then there is a problem. There is a conflict actually arising. So, in this case, my suggestion would be that how can we involve the local community in the mining process in decision making? There, the suggestion is that let the local community be a stakeholder, like shareholder, I would say. Say, at least if you can give 10 percentage ownership to the local communities in the mining operation, that would be the best solution.
Very interesting.
So when I say 10, but how do we give it? To whom actually we will give? So for that, no, we can choose it. Suppose one mine is going to impact three or four panchayats, or say directly actually there will be one or two panchayats, or say a few villages. Now we can choose those villages and form a trust in those villages. Now that trust will be basically shareholder, and now every individual of that village will be a trustee. So now 10 percentage belongs to that trust. So family will be will be expanding and all that, but that is fine. But they all will be part of it. Similarly, the employment generation. Similarly, say now we see that the mineral extraction job is outsourced to somebody else, and mostly we see that somebody from say Bhubaneswar will go to Kenjur and Sundargarh or say Jajpur, and they will extract the mineral. That is a company from Bhubaneswar goes to that area and does the extraction. This should not be allowed. This trust now will be doing this operation. No, nowadays even nowadays we give compensation actually through DMF. Now my suggestion would be that let the mining company buy all the equipments that are required. So for example, JCB machine or big excavators and all that whatever you need, and let us transfer it to the community that who is a part now a trustee actually of that which has 10% share of this company. Now they will do the mineral extraction. They will do the transportation. Now that gives a lot of employment opportunity to the local people. Now they get a benefit out of it. So in this way, local people will not operate no protest. They will say that no, okay, we are also part of this growth or the development, and I think that way we can. And they when their own people are involved, they will take a decision whether we will clear 10 hectares of forest or 10 units of trees, right? So minimum thing how we can do the mineral extraction, minimizing the destruction to the nature in a sustainable. But they know the I think although we are using scientists to do assessments of say hydrological thing, forest, wildlife, all these things, but local people know much better than any of the scientists actually. But do we involve the local people? Do we hear their voices? Actually, I don't think we do. Actually. But
No.
when you are now involving them in the management of the resources, they have better knowledge. I'm not saying that we will not include scientists. Now there has to be an integrated approach. The local communities will share their opinion, and also scientists will also say, and then the best thing will emerge. Actually. So I think that way Although we have done some things to transfer the benefits to the local community, I think we need to change actually, and we need to involve communities in a bigger way.
That is such an interesting take, because mostly when we talk about new projects coming up in an area, the narrative is people will get jobs. How is that going to benefit them in the long run? Is what you are trying to explain, that there is the methodology, the ideology has to change, and the perspective has to change. Now, Odisha has been hailed to uh, be very forward thinking in their perspective. And how does this state adapt its strategies to address emerging climate issues through their fiscal responsibilities? Do you think just merely having a climate budget every year is good enough to solve this problem? How is the allocation working? Because we're the first state to have a climate budget. So, how is the resource allocation management done through their fiscal responsibilities?
No, I have also gone through that, climate budget. I don't think actually, no, although it's a good beginning, I can say. It's not that, no, I will be only critical of it. No. So it's a definitely good beginning, but I don't think it serves the real purpose. We had discussion at some other places regarding this. Uh, if we are talking about climate budget, my suggestion would be that let us do a mapping of all the money that we are spending. Suppose in Odisha we spend 2.5 lakh crore. That is the budget size of Odisha. Now, some money goes to say education, health, agriculture, industry, and all that. Now, let us do a mapping that how this money is going to impact the environment and climate. I don't think that our climate budget does that. Nothing. I don't think it is anyway related to such things. Actually, no. By doing this, actually, what we can achieve. So, for example, in the social sectors, it may not have much impact. Say, money is going to schools, money is going to health sector. This is creating the capability of the people to adapt to the climate change. So these are positive things. Actually. So when I'm saying it's not the only negative mapping we'll be doing both positive mapping and as well as negative things. So positive things we can list out. Okay, this way people can become resilient and they can cope up with the climate change. But the negative things, for example, industry. Now, when a new industry is coming, we can tell them that please adopt the best technology that is available, which will minimize the impact on the environment. So, for example, now we are emitting a lot of carbon and carbon dioxide or methane gases. Now, is this company adopting the best technology available, which will have the minimum footprint? Similarly, say we are transferring money for say employment generation programs. Now we can probably use this money for conservation of nature instead of damaging actually then. So for example, if you are promoting intensive agriculture using chemical pesticide, you are giving subsidy for chemical fertilizers, then these are impacting actually the nature. So that way actually we can do a mapping of each sector, agriculture, industry, supervision, housing also. Now, can we have a better design of the houses? It not necessary that it has to be a concrete building everywhere. Okay, so of course I understand that Odisha faces a lot of disasters, so that a concrete house is resilient actually. But for energy, are we using local materials? No, these are I think Laurie Becker no is an architecture who always promotes basically how to use local resources and technology to minimize the use of resources and minimize the yeah basically energy consumption and all that. So I think that way we can still go further, although Odisha is a leader in many things like doing new things, innovative things. That's why you have to appreciate also our finance officers, and I know a couple of them, they're very smart people. They always try to learn new things from IMF, World Bank. They go through different training programs. I know actually even a couple of finance secretaries who take interest actually in all these things. So but I think we should go beyond this actually.
You mentioned energy.
Yeah.
And the last time we had a conversation, there was an amazing, interesting idea that you had about energy transition. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes, energy transition is in fact more important for Odisha because uh, some organizations have come up with a study that the per capita carbon emission of Odisha is second highest in the country among all the states. If you compare all 29 states, then we are the second highest in per capita carbon emission. But if you look at our per capita income, then we are at 17th place. So we have improved actually significantly from 24th position in 2000 to 17th actually. So seven position jump. It has happened, in per capita income we have improved. But it is not matching. The carbon emission, we are second, but in per capita income, we are 17th. So then we need to understand that why is it so? That means the way we are producing our outputs in the state is emitting a lot of carbon dioxide and is consuming a lot of energy. And what is the color of the energy that we are consuming? It is black. No, although the light looks white or yellow, but the color of the energy is black because almost 85 percentage of our, or I think roughly 80 percentage of our electricity in Odisha comes from thermal power. That means we are burning the black coal and it emits black carbon dioxide and a lot of methane gases. And then it creates as well greenhouse gas effects. Like if you go to Angul Talcher area, no, the temperature rises up to 45 degree, 50
Right.
degrees sometimes. Titlagad, of course, there is no mining actually, but no, not Tatlagad in Odisha. So the mining regions are now suffering from extreme temperature. Now, this, so we need to change this. Probably we cannot live without energy. No? We are the way actually we are progressing, and also if you look at developed countries, when you grow and you try to produce more GDP, you need more energy. But we have to now think that from which source we can produce this energy, whether it is from coal, which is abundantly available in Odisha. That's why probably we are producing. In fact, I should give some numbers also. Uh, if if you look at the economic cost of thermal energy, it is only something like 2.5 rupees per unit. But then uh, there are also studies, which shows that the social cost of carbon is very very high. And in fact, as per the study of Environmental Protection Agency of USA and IPCC, each unit of electricity that is produced from thermal energy has a social cost of 700 to 800 rupees. The economic cost is only 2.5 rupees, but the social cost is this much. So when I say social cost, what is it? The social cost means because of the, say, carbon emission, uh, or say, yeah, carbon emission, how people are negatively impacted. They suffer from a lot of diseases. In fact, people who work in mining areas, they suffer from a disease called silicosis.
Yes.
Okay? It's very difficult to even detect. Okay? So that this will be part of it. Now, because of in Odisha, the major controversy is ash ponds. Many times the ash pond collapses, the agricultural lands are destroyed, and so the farmers suffer huge loss. The
Is it due to lack of technology or is it due to the human error?
uh, I think the technology is definitely one issue. Uh, Also, we can say that to keep the prices competitive, we don't take those precaution measures. Things are improving, but we are far away actually from actually what can be done. So for example, carbon capture and storage is a technology that is now emerging, and scientists are discussing that when we are burning coals, we can capture the carbon and then use it some part of the carbon has to capture, use a part of it, and then store it if something cannot be used. Then. But this technology is also not foolproof actually. In fact, it can really, basically what they will do is either they put it in the soil or they put it in the water. So we don't know what will be the effects, whether the groundwater table will be impacted, the ocean water will be polluted, and so we don't know exactly. That's why this technology has not been adapted till now. Probably not economical efficient also. So so when I was telling that the social cost of carbon is so high, then we should not look at only the 2.5 rupees that we are thinking about. We have been always thinking that nature is freely available for us.
Abundant.
Yeah, and we worship water as Ganga Mata, but we pollute the water with we connect all the sewage water to that. We worship air or atmosphere as Pavan Dev, but we emit all the carbon dioxide. because Parbandev has never protested. No, I tell this to my economic students, that we worship all this. We worship forest as Banadurga, but Durga never emerges from the first to give a slap. That why are you cutting me actually, right? So similarly, we worship, we call Mother Nature, like say Mother Earth. Mother never had Earth has no. When they protest in a very violent way. These are natural disasters actually. So that is why when the social cost actually we are trying to basically measure the way these resources are getting impacted now, and these are not part of the direct production cost. So that is why actually these estimations actually why these are coming up, that environmental protection agency like say pollution control board in Odisha can take note of these, or say these are estimates in a different country context, but let us have our own studies in Indian context and come up with the numbers, whether these numbers will be less or higher. My presumption is that in Indian context, these numbers will be even much bigger. So, uh, so in this context, actually, what we need to do now, Odisha's GSTP, if you look at, almost 50% of GSTP comes from mining and metal-based industries, and these are highly energy intensive industries. And most of these industries, like say metal industries, they produce their own electricity, having a captive power plant. And these are mostly thermal. Now we need to seriously think about it, whether we can go on continuing with this or we need to change this. And again, why we need to change? Now we don't consume all the minerals or metals that we produce in Odisha. We sell it to other countries or other states. Now advanced countries are coming up with regulations which will put a tax on it, that is called carbon border adjustment policy. Now, if they impose a tariff on our metals, then we cannot sell it to other countries. They'll become uncompetitive. Okay. So, uh, then Odisha should prepare, for the future. That if you have to retain our competitiveness, see, a lot of industrialization has already happened in the entire Kalinganagar, or say that Dhamra area. No, lot of steel or metal industries are coming up, and it will come in the future because we have a lot of minerals, lot of water, and land is also available. So many companies are going to come, and the demand for metals will also increase for our growth. So what we need to do, that since we need to continue with the metal production, we need to change the energy that we are using. Now for that, now what will be the best energy? Some people say that okay, solar sun is available only during daytime, night time sun sleeps. Okay. And air, I know what I actually understand is that uh, for wind turbines, we need a slow wind speed, not at all too fast. In Odisha, we get cyclones where the wind speed goes up 300 kilometer per hour. So no windmill will survive actually. So they will all be damaged. So that way you don't see much windmills. Windmills are there only in Tamil Nadu. So then, okay, solar is not possible because it needs storage at night, and for fulfilling the needs at night, you need a huge storage, and it's not possible. Wind is not possible. Then the other one that is available is nuclear. And now nuclear scientists, of say DA, Department of Atomic Energy, they have come up with say smaller, nuclear power plants. They can be adopted by these metal producers. So earlier, we had used to have very big, nuclear power plants. Now we don't need actually that. Every metal company can have their own small nuclear power plant, and that can fulfill the energy needs. And the social cost or the environmental cost of nuclear power plants are very very minimum. There are a lot of studies also. So if you take, and the fear is that nuclear technology can cause havoc, like say radiation and all that. For that, I would say that look around the world. After the Chernobyl incident, I don't think a nuclear disaster has ever happened in the entire world.
But there's a
Okay,
fear.
that is only fear. That's what I'm telling.
Yes.
And the Fukushima tragedy, there was earthquake and Fukushima. There was news that no, it is some people died because of radiation. There are no empirical evidences. Now, people who are working in this nuclear energy things, they say that whatever death had happened in Fukushima was all due to earthquake, not due to radiation. The nuclear power plants were all safe. So that means the technology has matured. And coming to India, we also have nuclear power plants. We have never faced any kind of nuclear tragedy in the country. That means our technology is fully matured, right? So that way we can really safely move towards. In fact, I would say that thermal is more dangerous than nuclear. Yeah, because many people die by inhaling the carbon dioxide. A lot of damages happen. Nobody has done as an estimation, and there are other organizations who do estimation that because of the bad air quality, how many premature deaths happen in this country, how much money we spend for our health expenditure, how much money we spend for our defensive expenditure. What is defensive expenditure? Your water has become polluted. You need a water purifier. That is called defensive expenditure. This really doesn't add any value. If water was pure, you could have directly taken this direct. But because that water has become polluted, you are using. Temperature has risen. That is why you need one air conditioner. These are defensive expenditures. If the temperature remains normal, you don't need air conditioner, right? So now, even though we are earning a lot of money, we spend quite a lot of it in defensive expenditures. So now, if you maintain good air quality and all that, your no real quality of life will improve. So that's why I would suggest that people should take actually evidences and without understanding things, people say, oh, when there was a nuclear bomb that was put in Japan and Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After that, I don't think ever actually a nuclear disaster has happened. So, and in fact, to go to even another extreme, there are now some evidences that some people say that a very minimum nuclear exposure improves your health. Okay, so that way I would say that no, we need to think. I'm not saying that tomorrow let
Yeah.
us go to nuclear energy. No, let us all the scientists debate and discuss. Okay, I'm not a scientist. I'm a social scientist, and I'm just reading it whatever. So let us all discuss among the scientists and let the policymakers bring all the scientists together and take a very informed decision that okay, for our country or for our state, this is the best energy, and this is the cleanest energy which will have minimum social impact. So that way policymakers need to really think seriously and go for energy transition, that's it, cleaner energy sources.
We've been talking about resource allocation, energy transition. You've had the opportunity to work in the Finance Commission. Can you please elaborate on the mechanisms that the Finance Commission employs to integrate climate finance into its recommendations? And we all know how allocations are done for states, right? Through the devolution formula. Don't you think coastal states of India should be given more importance and priority in the devolution formula by the Finance Commission, as these states bear the brunt of climate change firsthand?
Yes, since we are living in Odisha, we'll say that Odisha is getting more impacted than other states, which is not true. In fact, now all states are getting equally impacted. Okay, why I'm saying this? Natural disasters take different forms. Cyclone is one of the forms. Other forms could be your landslides, floods, heat wave. Now, if you look at other states, they're equally getting impacted. No, you
Right.
might be hearing floods. No, the entire Ganges belt, they suffer flood.
Flash floods in the Himalayas, yes.
Himalayas, landslides. Many people die. So, NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management, they have the expertise. Actually. They are working on it. They have also come up with a vulnerability map that which states are vulnerable to what kind of natural disaster, and they come up with aggregate, say damage. But yeah, there are actually weaknesses in India. Not been able to arrive at a comprehensive methodology that can quantify all the damages that has happened, or say what is the damage that is happening due to a drought. In fact, it seems that the economic losses due to droughts are more than actually cyclone. Why I'm saying this? Cyclone comes and goes. It brings sometimes actually with water. It brings actually fertility to the soil, but a drought is more dangerous. So we have not tried to quantify actually all these things. So we need to really analyze or say develop methodology that can quantify the losses due to different types of disasters, including landslides. Now, because of landslide, what happens? What is the economic loss? There is no methodology. No, of course, now Government of India and UNEP and World Bank, they are developing methodology which is called PDN, post disaster need assessment, and in fact I was part of it during the Fani cyclone. But there are issues. In fact, my one of my PhD students is working on this methodology, that how can we have a comprehensive methodology for assessing the damages and losses. So that way, if you look at the vulnerability map, I don't think actually Odisha comes at the top. I think the north, no, eastern states, and I think I will call the special category states will be among the high ranking states, because they live in hilly terrain and they suffer from rain, floods, and landslides and all that. So, but yeah, but this is an important topic actually. Finance Commission needs to change the approach, and think about like it probably needs to provide funds. It is already providing through NDRF and SDRF, the State Disaster Response Fund and National Disaster Response Fund. So although we get it, in fact, if you but the fund that we get is very very small, and uh, and the reason could be that. Probably they don't trust the numbers. So for example, whenever a disaster happens, the state government submits a memorandum to the government of India that, see, this is our economic loss, so please compensate us. Now, government of India thinks that these are exaggerated,
Mhm.
but people who have worked on these methodologies, they would say that these are underestimations. Okay? But still, there is a no trust gap, and government of India really doesn't, and maybe they can also say that no, we don't have funds. Just to give one example, I would say during Fani cyclone, the PDNA that was done, post disaster need assessment, they came up with a number that the damages due to Fani cyclone in 2019 was roughly 25,000 crore. Now, if you look at the budget of Odisha in 2019, it was roughly 1 lakh 25,000 crore. The budget of Odisha is 1 lakh 25,000 crore, but the damages is 25,000 crore. Now, can the state afford actually to compensate all the people 25,000 crore through fiscal transfer? It's not possible. Now, if you ask the same amount from government of India, they will say no, we don't have that year. See, this year I think the government's budget is roughly 45 lakh crore, and now that year it might be somewhere around say 25 lakh crore. Now, if you ask actually that government of India, you give us compensation, they can actually provide this. So fiscally, it is not possible to compensate all the damages. But what we can do is we need to create the disaster resilient infrastructure so that the damage actually is minimized. That's what actually we can do. Finance Commission gives money to the states because if you look at the taxes, there are more taxes to the government of India, less taxes to the state government. But states chief minister lives closer to the people, so people have more expectation that our chief minister will spend for all these things. So chief minister has more expenditure obligations, less revenue in his purse wallet. But government of India has more revenue, but it lives far away from the people, so it has less expenditure obligations. So there is a mismatch. Yeah, that's why Finance Commission is there. As per the Constitution, the President appoints the commission to come up with a formula to transfer the money. So initially, up to I would say uh, 12 Finance Commission, there was no such allocation for climate or environment or anything. There was no discussion also. But probably internationally there was no pressure, and government of India was not party to many things. Or say there was not much discussion. But from early 2000, we see that president in the terms of reference to the Finance Commission now has added a point that Finance Commission, while transferring the funds to states, should look at environment climate change as one of the indicators. And what does the finance different commissions have done? Initially they started with some grants for the forest conservation and water resource management, but grants come with a lot of conditions. So state chief ministers don't like grants. They always like share in the taxes. That is unconditional. That money comes to you and you decide where you will spend. Because in fact, in the 13th Finance Commission formula, there was a grant component on forestry and water. I think many states could not utilize that money, including Odisha. So because they did not comply with the conditions that finance commissioner had suggested. That's why the money actually could not be utilized, except the past 2 years, because that was unconditional. So 14th Finance Commission decided that let us put this number in the formula itself. So it goes as a unconditional grant. So now 14th, 15th Finance Commission, both Finance Commission have used forest cover as an indicator for fulfilling all these things. No, people will ask, no, there are many other indicators. Why they don't use actually? They use all these indicators. No, what no, while working with the Finance Commission as a deputy director, of course, I'm a smaller rank employee actually. In the commission means actually the members. We are basically, the servants to them. In Odia, Sebayat. Okay. So, uh, uh, but what I understood, is that the Finance Commission uses the non-controversial numbers and the numbers that are published by the government. Now researchers can come up with different numbers. Now they will not use these numbers. Why? Because some chief minister will ask the finance commissioner or the prime minister or the finance minister that who is that researcher? How what is the credibility of that number? Right? So these
Right.
issues actually come. So they always use a number which is owned or supported by the government. They own up the numbers. That's why they use a number. So forest cover is number provided by Forest Survey of India, FSI. That is a non-controversial number, so everyone accept this. And people also believe that if you have more forest, then your resilient capacity is higher. No, it absorbs the carbon dioxide. That's an easy number actually people. But I think now that after this IPCC or say the COP 26, 27, 28, India's commitment for net zero and energy transition, we need to go beyond the forest cover. Now, 16th Finance Commission has also been asked to do the same thing, look at the same thing. In fact, 15th Finance Commission had got a very clear mandate, the climate change and all these things. I thought they will go beyond the forest, but they have not actually gone beyond it because of again easy reliability, uncontroversial things. But they can go beyond this. Particularly, I would suggest that they can use energy, no, because now the COP 26, 27, 28, in that actually Prime Minister has made commitment at international levels that we will be achieving net zero and we will be achieving energy transition. We will be promoting renewable energy. 50% of our energy should come from renewable energy sources. Now let us incentivize the states through the Finance Commission formula that the states that goes for more renewable energy sources will be rewarded. That will motivate the state. And this year, Prime Minister has announced that 1 crore households will get rooftop solar energy. They can sell surplus electricity to the grid. They can get 300 units for free. So, how do we achieve this? Now, for that, I think I think now the 16th Finance Commission is will be starting the consultation, and they usually go to the states. They meet the chief minister, finance minister, opposition party, political parties, panchayat leaders, starting from PRI to urban local bodies. Now they take opinion, and they take always a balanced approach. So they try to satisfy almost everyone. Okay, so that everyone feels that okay. So my point is included also. Okay, and that's how finance commission works, and let us hope that 16th finance commission tries to devise some formula which is in line with the India's climate change or energy transition policies.
Sir, thank you so much. The last question that I would want to ask you is India's vision and what and where should our focus be for ecology, economy, and energy? And how do we achieve these goals?
No, I would again quote Professor Prabhat Patnaik, because he told that no, in a society like ours, what should state do? So he tells actually states should provide five things, and these are called fundamental rights of every citizen.